we already have a far finer connection to spirit and the world than those little devices. So welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We honor you wherever you are on your spiritual path, and know that there will be something here in word and in music to take you along that path. Please join us in the morning chant that will be on the screen behind me, followed by the spiritual mind treatment by our very own Reverend Sarah, to take you deeper into your center.
Up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening,
I am opening.
Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer.
Please join me in listening to the words of our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. We want to know with certainty there's a place within us where we may dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. Let us daily take time to practice believing that we are an outlet for the mind of God, believing that there is love that, coming direct from the heart of the universe itself, can flow out of us in every direction blessing everything it touches, believing there is a certainty that can overcome every confusion and a faith that can destroy all fear. And we must understand that there is a power operating in, through, and upon our words, our prayers, and our affirmative meditations. And in so doing acts as the law of mind. It is something we can depend on with great certainty. So as we reflect on those words of Dr. Holmes, we know we give thanks for the understanding that Spirit is truly all there is, ever present in every situation, flowing in and as us into the world, so that we are guided and directed as to what to do and not to do in every situation of our life. And to know that we are in that healing pool of Spirit's love and support and guidance every moment, every day, all our life. And knowing we know exactly what to do. And infinite intelligence within our physical selves are healing and harmonizing all that needs to be harmonized and healed for our highest good and our health and vitality. And knowing that we are guided as to what to do in all personal situations in our life. So accepting that as the truth, we simply say thank you and wait for wonderful reports and delightful surprises. And so it is. Amen.
Love is what we are made of.
Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer.
And we're so blessed to have Bodhi and Posey Lion for our musicians today.
I'm sitting on the shores of the Galilee, listening to words that set me free. I'm so filled with love, I can hardly breathe. And the words are flowing to me, whispering and singing through me. They tell me how to live and how to be. They sing before you breathe. Remember, only love is real. Before you speak, remember, only love is real. And before you even gesture, please remember, if you will, that only love, only love, only love is real. These are words to celebrate and practice every day, to consciously remember at work and play. The truth is oh so simple, and it really does set us free. It's not so easy, and it's all we need. And so before you breathe, remember, only love is real. You can sing if you want. Before you speak, remember, only love is real. And before you even gesture, please remember, if you will, that only love, only love, only love is real. And so before you breathe, remember, only love is real. Before you speak, remember, only love is real. And before you even gesture, please remember, if you will, that only love, only love, only love is real. Only love is real.
It's a Posey original. She wrote that song.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rev Karyl Huntley. It is wonderful to see you here on the last Sunday of October. Do we have people from the, yes we do, from the membership team. So these beautiful ladies here at the corners have a packet of information about our community. And it is to welcome you who are here for the first time, or if you're early on in your communion with us and you don't have this information. There's a packet of information, and on the inside is a blue card, and if you fill out the blue card, you get a wonderful little book that explains our philosophy very easily. So if you just raise your hand, you can have one. Anybody here for the first time that would like a packet? We're all, okay, well, there's a blue card that's been filled out. Woohoo! Okay, everybody, wonderful. Okay, so our theme this year, we're coming down the home stretch, 2 months to go, but hasn't it been a great year about values? Yeah, and I think that next year will be equally as wonderful, but we still have 2 months of wonderful values to talk about, and of course, the idea is to not just talk about them. The idea is to live them, to commit and to live them. So our theme for October is this: love that is life-changing. The kind of love that Posey sang about, and she'll sing about it again. It's a love that takes us from one place to another, just picks us up and drops us in a new place that is filled with expansion and filled with lessons learned and lessons yet to learn. It's the kind of love that heals, restores, inspires, a love that makes a new version of you. And you can't help it. When you are so filled with love, it does it for you. A lot of times it's comfortable, a lot of times it's uncomfortable. But what this kind of love does is that it presents you with a curriculum for life. Whatever you need next, love will provide it for you. If it's a blessing, well, it's all blessings, but if it's a difficult blessing, that's what you get. If it's a blessing after a lesson learned, that's what you get. So we're here I'm wanting us to go deeper and broader with this idea of love that is the last in this series in October. So the title, the title is Leftover Love. And this is not like second-rate love at all. This is the kind of love that you overflow with. That's the overflowing cup of love. You leave it over, there's too much to hold. And so you kind of leave it where you go. Like that wonderful line from the Wordsworth poem, trailing clouds of glory. That's what we do. We just love just kind of is in our wake because we're so overflowing with it. That's one of the connotations. Another of the connotations is like leftovers. I don't know about you, but when I have delicious leftovers in the fridge, I'm really happy. And so it's like having having love in the bank or in the refrigerator, that you can really, really count on. And then there's one more connotation that I'll get to in just a moment. But I want to share with you the values that we're going to talk about today, which, of course, love is the first one. And then love is deep. So we're going to talk about how deep it goes. And love is wide. And so we're going to talk about the breadth of love. So the third connotation of leftover love is the love that people leave when they pass on, the love of the ancestors. And this is the perfect Sunday for this because it is the Sunday before Halloween. Halloween's 2 days from now, and I want to just put your attention on this wonderful, wonderful altar. Yes. Done by our Celtic pagan duo, Karen and Bridgit Frost, the perfect people to do this altar for this Sunday. So I want to say a little bit about Samhain, which is the Celtic holiday that has come down to us through the years as our Halloween. It was the most sacred of days in the whole Celtic calendar because it was the day where the veil between the worlds was the thinnest. And we really could penetrate that veil and receive information. Thank you, Mary. That was instant. That we, where was I? That we could penetrate the veil and actually receive information from our ancestors. So every single one of these symbols of Halloween were ancient sacred symbols. So the witch is really the wise woman of the village, and the idea of death, symbolized by the skeleton, is the idea that death is not far away, that our beloveds are closer than they were in flesh. They are so close. They always live in our hearts and in our minds. They're available to us. And then the treats, which there are bags here and treats here that you can take home. The treats were that they left little trails of goodies up to the house so that their ancestors could find their way home. And I just want to say a little bit about the costumes, because the costumes came into being because if you didn't particularly want your ancestors to find you, then you would disguise yourself and hopefully they wouldn't recognize you. So that's the origin of the costumes that I know. So anyway, I just want to thank you so much, Ms. and Ms. Frost, for a wonderful altar. And then to say that my mom, Doris Jones, had the wisdom to be born on Halloween. And I want to bring her into this service because this would be her 100th birthday. A happy birthday, Mom. So if you had my mom directly teach you, would you just hold your hand up? Welcome to the Doris Jones Sunday. And those of you that didn't have her directly teaching you, she is the legacy that we have in this particular community, but also in the whole movement, because she taught practitioners in 5 different centers, and in her career she wrote curriculum for the practitioner training. And so she had hundreds of clients worldwide, and she is a legacy to our movement. So in her tenure of serving our movement, she did Wednesday services for years when our office was in Sausalito. And I have a file this big, alphabetical, of talks that she did on Wednesdays. And I just went into the L's, and I took the first 3 talks about love. And that's what I'm going to talk about, the legacy, her magnificent, magnificent legacy, because what I want in this last 5th Sunday about love is to tell you everything that I haven't said yet about love, okay? So first of all, the idea, oh, wait, don't do that. We're not ready for you yet. God's gifts exemplify love. All right, so this is in Mom's handwriting, if you want to come up here and just have a tear. The Healing Power of Love, December 7th, 1988. What she said about the healing power of love is that the healing power of love lies in the truth that all has been given, including life itself, the use of divine mind, our desires and ideas, as well as their manifestation. So what this means is that when you want something, when you love something, when you want more of something, when you look at your life and you say, well, I've got this and this and this, but I really want this, that desire is planted by God. It's not there for frustration. It's there as a signpost. It's there for you to say, yes, I want that, and I can have it because everything has been given. The law of cause and effect, that our thoughts transform into form, that is given. And what this says is that the whole system of manifestation on this earthly plane has been given to us by the infinite presence for our use and for our good. And there's nothing that exists here that isn't a part of that system. And so the healing power of love is knowing that, and that we are not put here to be frustrated or to be limited or to be wanting and not having. We are here to be fulfilled. And that is the healing power of love. Additionally, she writes that all is given unconditionally. That means, in the Bible it says it rains on the just and on the unjust. This law is available to the nice people and to the not nice people because God loves everybody. So that is God's gifts exemplify love. The next one is love is our nature. We can't get away from it. This one is from June 10th, 1992. The title is Accepting Love. And the idea is this. I'll read just a paragraph. In her writing, when we come to know God as our source, when we truly accept our unity with God, when we embody the idea that it is God's nature to give of his beingness unconditionally and infinitely, and then this is underlined, our lives are transformed. We come to know that all that God is that which we are, available to express through us, as us, and our greatest work is to accept. So what this says is that love is our nature, and God can't do any more than give us everything. God cannot do any more than give us everything. Our part is to meet that with acceptance. So I'm going to tell you a very, very, very simple example that we need to expand to everything. Let's say that you have trouble loving a particular body part of yours. That you don't like your feet or you don't like your hips. And then someone comes along and is overcome with the majesty of your feet or your hips and loves them so much that you kind of say, well, maybe they're not so bad. And you accept the majesty of that body part that you haven't loved. Does anybody else get this? Okay. That's what you have to do for everything. Just say, I haven't loved this, or I haven't loved this, or I haven't gotten this, or I haven't enjoyed this. All you have to do is accept it because it's already been given to you. And if this is like gobbledygook, if you're going, it can't be that easy, go get a prayer. Go get a prayer from one of those practitioners, and they will pray you into acceptance. All right? So, that's what I have to say about that one. And that is, love is our nature. Now, this next one blew me away. The point is, love is the energy of the soul. That's the That's the overarching concept. This is from June 17th, 1992, Love in Action. I have never heard anyone but my mother say this first point, and that is that love heals the personality. So let's think about that. Let's say that you in your childhood have had some sort of impoverished message from somebody else that was unhealed. Somebody in your family teaches you lack by saying things like, well, money doesn't grow on trees. You want that? You got to get it for yourself. Or, well, that just is way, way, way too expensive. Or something like that. Something that indicates that there is a shortage of good things. If that is given to you over and over again, there are a number of ways that you can process that. But as a child, you might become fearful that your needs are not going to be met. And that the joys that are available to other people maybe not are going to be available to you. And so you develop a personality trait that is fearful or reticent. That is a personality trait of yours that colors how you live through it and how people on the outside see you. Does it have anything to do with truth? No, it absolutely doesn't. Thank you, Sue. But it's your personality. And if you love yourself deeply enough, because love provides the curriculum for each one of us, you will be given the pathway to healing that aspect of your personality. Now that is amazing, and that came from my mother. And further, she says, love is not a passive state. Love brings a different way of being in the world. So if we heal those limiting personality traits, we're going to be different people in the world, and it's because of love. Further, she wrote, love does more than bring peace where there was conflict. Love brings harmony and an active interest in the well-being of others. So not only does love heal us individually, but it heals the planet. So love is the energy of the soul. And any negative judgment about any aspect of ourself or anyone else can be healed with love. So I could go on through the 1.5 feet of my mother's folders. And maybe I will. Maybe that'll be a source of things to come. But these 3 points exemplify to me some of the depth work of love. How deep can we take the study of love? How deep can we love everything that we feel is unlovable about ourselves, about the world, and about others? So that's Mom. That's the depth work. We will also, the affirmation at the very, very end of the service is really long, and it came from Mom. It's her words, so we'll all get to speak her words. So next we're going to talk about the breadth of heart work, the wideness, the breadth, how many topics in life on the surface here can we use love for. And we'll see that breadth and depth kind of commingle. So I chose 4 qualities of living that we all go through that can be served by love. And the first one is courage. It comes from the French word for heart. This week in Santa Rosa, I heard terrifying and tragic stories of the fires, of people barely getting out, or people not getting out, of people who have lost their homes and they didn't have enough insurance to rebuild. And so the courage that it takes when something like that happens, when a bad surprise, a devastation happens, and we move into it not with anger, not with thinking that God is absent, but thinking, okay, this happened, and now where is the courage to move forward and starting anew? And we don't have to have tragedy to start anew. Anybody out there doing something new? Yeah. So it takes courage to step into what we don't know how to do. And it's actually the ability, courage, I think, is the ability to hold fear and love at the same time. To say, this is really scary, and I bring love to it, and I'm going to go forward with fear under this arm and love under this arm, and we are going to make it. So John O'Donohue is the Irish mystic that I love so much. I can open any one of his books at any time and find something that I need. You know, it's really one of those mystical things. You just open a book. This one happens to be To Bless the Space Between Us, and it is a poem about courage. I'm going to read just a bit of it. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside. When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself, and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. One spark is courage that can be taken with fear and start anew. The next experience in life that I want to talk about that love can serve is grief. When Mom passed, which was on the 9th of December in 2008, the grief that I felt was encompassed in love. And the love was so strong, and the grief was so strong that it kind of like holding fear and courage and holding love and grief at the same time. They kind of burned in each other, and then it just left love. So I think because we loved each other so much in our lifetime that it made the grief easier. I'm sure it did. So this book by John O'Donohue, this little paperback book of Anam Cara, his first book, if I hadn't had it in the car when I was evacuated, I hope I would have remembered to take it, because it is one of my most sacred possessions, because I had this in the facility where Mom was in her last days, and I wrote down what she said the last 2 days that she was on this earthly plane. She was kind of in and out, and she would sleep for long, long, long periods of time. And then she would wake up and she would say something that was a complete non sequitur, but when you take them together, it's sort of, it makes some kind of sense. And it is the love that burned away the grief. So she said 2 days before she passed, I wonder how many people made it to the end still in love. And on the morning before she passed, she said, I know how wonderful I am because I received so much. And then she slept some more, and then she woke up and she said, I knew she had been traveling. She said, oh, I'm an angel. Did you make me wings? And then this one is so sweet. She was sort of awake, and I was talking to her about all the people on the other side who love her. And I brought to mind her mom and her dad that I knew and her aunties that had passed. And she said, I'll think of them and they'll send me cards. And then she said, should I go with color on my mind? And then she said, I'll do that. This was the most conscious, joyful dying that I can ever imagine. And the preciousness of those experiences that she had, that she came back and said these sweet little things, it heals my grief. So, deeper than the difficulty of grief is the difficulty of betrayal. Love is the only thing that will get us through this. So betrayal can poison a life. Both being betrayed and being in a position where one's own behavior is so out of step or unskilled or hateful that we are the ones who are betraying trust is so painful that love is absolutely the only thing that will get us through it. There's no reasoning, there's no explanation, there's no sorries that can help us as much as love. And this is the poem, a piece of the poem about broken trust. Sometimes there is an invisible raven, interesting the ravens are here, that will fly low to pierce the shell of trust when it has been brought near to ground. When he strikes, he breaks the faith of years that had built quietly through the seasons in the rhythm of tried and tested experience. Often, torn ground is ideal for seed that can root disappointment deep enough to yield a harvest that cannot wither. So when we are betrayed, it is a sacred wound because it is so deep that really God's got us. Nobody is ho-hum about betrayal. And when you are betrayed, you have two choices, and you cannot not choose. The two choices are, I will continue along the line of hatred and separation, or I will continue along the line of love and healing. One or the other. That's why it's sacred. God's got us, and we have to make a choice. And if there is any unhealed betrayal here, please choose love. And again, if you need help with that, come to a practitioner. And then when we get through all the hard stuff, there is belonging. And love helps us belong wherever we are. The ultimate job of love is to wind our lives so much together that we are at home in every moment and in every situation and in every relationship. John O'Donohue writes, "May you never be isolated, but may you always be in the gentle nest of belonging." And what this says to me is that with belonging, we believe in oneness, of course. All life is one. There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. But when we belong, this sacred oneness becomes a sacred two-ness. Because we and another find ourselves at home with each other. That is belonging. And so there is a presence of a sacred other. There is the family we belong to, or a loved one we belong to, or a system that we belong to. And from this sacred oneness, we experience ourselves as just separate enough that we can close the gap with another and and live together in love. And a sacred two-ness holds us. So this is what I thought about this week with the breadth of love: courage, grief, betrayal, and belonging. The values: love, working deep with love, and working wide with love. I want to close by a story that I shared in the wonderful class I'm teaching now on the St. Francis prayer. And it's about the line where it says, "I seek not so much to be loved, but to love." And in the curriculum, they refer to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says that there are more than one path to God. Two examples are the path of love and the path of knowledge. And chapter 12 asks in the Gita, which is easier, the path of love or the path of knowledge? And what their conclusion is, that love is the most predictable. If you love, you will get to God. You can do it by knowledge, and science of mind, we read a lot, we think a lot. But you have to really be disciplined to get to God from knowledge. And the Gita says the predictable path is love. And there's a story that exemplifies this, that a seeker went to his master and said, "I have a real hard time meditating. My mind just goes, and I can't concentrate on the absolute. I don't know how to do that. I can't get to the absolute." And the teacher said, "No problem. What do you love the most?" And the seeker, kind of embarrassed, said, "My cow. I love my cow the most." And the master said, "Go home and meditate on your cow." And so a couple of days later, the master comes to the house of the seeker and knocks on the door and says, "Come out. I have more instruction for you." And nothing happens. And knocks again, "Come out. I have more instruction for you." And inside, he hears the words, "I can't come out." So the master says, "Why can't you come out? I have more to teach you." And the seeker says, "I cannot come out because my horns are too big to fit through the door." And the point is, we become what we love. And so everything that we love is worthy of becoming. Becoming deep in a relationship, becoming more like God, becoming more generous of heart because we love our children. So my wish for you is that we all become more of what we love. And so I think I've told you everything I can today about love. All the leftovers of love are now in your heart. So let's do the inner work, and I would like it if all the practitioners present today would surround the room. And as this container is made, I would like you to feel the love just boiling in the cauldron. This is another symbol of Halloween, is the cauldron of life and death. The cauldron is what when they say to put the dead rats and the dead ravens in the cauldron, that's so they can boil so that new life can emerge. And it's kind of macabre, but that's the symbol of this transformational time of year, of being very, very close to the dimensions. So you are in a cauldron of love. Feel that roiling and boiling of the fire of love created in this container of love by our practitioners. Feeling that love has a purpose in your life. Love has a purpose to heal, to inspire, to draw the edges of that which has been torn apart and sew them together. Perhaps love is planting the seed of a new dream right now in your life. Perhaps love is helping you uproot the weeds of the old dream, the weeds that have choked it. But love wants to accomplish something in each life right now. You may know what it is, or you may not have a clue. But in this moment, if each of us simply says, in our heart of hearts, I am willing to be led by love, then love takes the lead. And when we come from love, we are always safe. And so, I wish you that journey of love. Blessed be.
God has a sweet way of kissing my ears with the high warbling notes of a bird drawing near. They remind me to listen, let go of my fears, to remember God is all there is. Oh yes. Love is all there is. God has a sweet way of kissing my skin, with a soft wind caressing my face to a grin. It brings me to stillness, calls me within, to remember God is all there is. Oh yes, love is all there is. All of nature conspires to remind me that love is all there is. God has a sweet way of kissing my nose through the fragrant scent of a budding rose. It tells me to open my heart to grow and to remember love is all there is. Oh yes. Love is all there is. God is my compass, my center, my heart, lighting me up from within, lovingly, gently reminding me I'm part of a marvelous whole. of nature conspires to remind me that God is all there is. God has a sweet way of kissing my eyes through the sight of a mother holding her child. I'm reminded that only love is worthwhile, and I remember love is all there is. God is all there is. Love is all there is. God, love is all there is. Love is all there is.
Cozy Lion, another original. Yeah. Bring it on.
Well, I was thinking about something to say this morning, and at our last practitioner retreat, we did an aspect on belonging, and I thought about, I belong here, I belong in this community. When I first came to Golden Gate, I stood at the front door to welcome people. That was how I started to feel included and belong. And then I just got involved and more involved, and I love this family that I belong to. So would the ushers come forward? And if you have pledge cards or gifts that you have this morning, if you'll hold them up to your heart, and just know that this is a gift you give to this community that gives back to you. So would you collect the offering? Thank you.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, leading us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do.
Show me.
All that I must do.
Yes, that's next. So let's say this blessing together. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Oh, you don't need this.
So first of all, this is a time of gratitude. And the people that we are grateful for today in our community are Elizabeth and Jim Austin, right there in their spots. So in your bulletin, there's this little paragraph here about some of the things they've done, and I just want to highlight one thing and then tell a personal story. In 1973, they found religious science right here in this room with Dr. Kendall Bryson. This room has kind of liked Science of Mind people forever, it seems like. Kendall Bryson's church is not the lineage of ours. Our church started in San Francisco and then moved over here. And then Kendall's church moved up to northern Nevada. So when I was in ministerial school, I was a member of this community. I went to ministerial school, and while I was in ministerial school, I visited many, many, many churches in our denomination and out. And I spoke a few times in the Northern Marin Church, and I met the Austins at that time. They were members of the Northern Marin Church. And I don't know whether you remember me, but I remember you because you were the most welcoming, the most loving, the most as they are, as we know them, way back then. And I thought, those are the kind of people that I want in my community. And so, lo and behold, that's my prayer got answered. So the Austins have, they have served this community in many, many, many teams and committees. They were on the first ever pledge team. They have children who are practitioners in other communities. They are pillars of religious science in this movement. So please, one more round of applause for the Austins. And then one more special thanks. Don't sit down, Posey. Come right up here. Come right up here. So Posey, we announced Posey's emeritus status as a practitioner a while ago, but I have the honor of presenting to her today her card as a practitioner emeritus, a letter from home office, and a beautiful frameable certificate that says Practitioner Emeritus of Religious Science to Rose Vincent Lyon, with all honors, privileges, and obligations thereto appertaining. Yeah. Yay! And so the setup this morning, I get to thank Jim Homa, Cindy Lou, and Mark and Galen Cooper. The sound was done by Bob Gordon today, the video by David Seltzer, the streaming by Tom Merrill, Mary Marie Shelton on PowerPoint, our wonderful practitioners at the table, the Frosts with their marvelous altar, Posey and Bodie doing the music, Cindy Lou in the bookstore, the Sunday team headed up by Jay Gustafson, and Youth and Family today, which is represented by a table over there. If any of you would like to ask questions about perhaps serving in youth church, they could use some new teachers. And it has been, people have done this over the years and absolutely loved it. Then there are the core that have been there for 20 years, and they would like some others of you to join them. So start by asking questions over there at the table. Next is the Now Choir is performing on November 12th, so 2 Sundays from now, and that works this way. You get here at 8 o'clock, you rehearse for an hour or two, and then you sing. And everybody loves you to absolute pieces. So how many of you have sung in the Now Choir so far? So come again, and others can join them. Catherine's fall class, come right up here, darling. Reverend Catherine Socks, ordained Reverend Catherine Socks.
I'm really holy now. I'd like to invite you to join Writing as a Spiritual Practice. This is a 6-week class. It's not for professional writers. It's not about journaling. It's really a very fun class that allows you to just open a door, look what's inside, and see what Spirit has to lead you into, to go within. It's revelatory. It's insightful. Sometimes it's a lot of fun. Sometimes you touch things that you didn't know were inside of you. So we use exercises, tools, tricks, and techniques to let what's in your heart or in your consciousness flow through and out the hand. Sometimes we laugh out loud, sometimes we cry. But it's all about not grammar, it's not about how beautifully you write, it's really about letting yourself, your deepest self, express without obstruction, without criticism, without the left brain coming in. It's about letting yourself express in ways that perhaps you've never done before. I really love this. The last time we did this, we had so much fun sharing and deepening our ability to look inside and see what's there. So please do sign up. It starts November. We don't do Thanksgiving week because we're eating too much. But join us. It's a lot of fun, and you will be amazed at what you have to say to, from, and by yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is backed by popular demand. Yes. Next, I would like to invite you to the premiere of The Science of Earnest Mind on a very, very special Sunday. The preview happened yesterday at the Tri-City Church of Religious Science in Fremont, Newark, down there. And it was fabulous. And Sue is here, the producer is here. There were people at the showing that loved it so much, they wrote her checks and said, I want it, I want to buy it. So it's going to be a very special Sunday because our founding minister will be here. Dr. Lloyd is going to do the talk. I'll be here, of course, being in a support role that day. And then in the afternoon, we will have the premiere of the movie that originated out of this community that is now being offered to the whole religious science world. Thank you, Sue Ruda. It's a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Okay. So the knitting circle is on Thursdays. Any of you that has some handwork to do, we just have a great time. If you have a chicken that's cold, there you go. Next, Scorpio birthdays, you darling people that I know you Scorpios. And if you have a birthday in the Scorpio timeline here, just come over to the practitioner table and get a spiritual checkup form. You can fill it out and call a practitioner for a free practitioner session. That is a very wonderful birthday. And then Sunday teams. We've got a couple of new people on the Sunday teams. Paula, can you stand up, Paula, darling? Paula is the whole house mom of all the Sunday teams. And so if you would like to work one Sunday a month, and it's not really work, it's really a wonderful service. And like Gail said, it's a place to meet people. Just see Paula after the service. And we are still seeking a home for Thanksgiving dinner. So the way this works is if you have a home and you have enough room for a dozen people, then what happens is you cook the turkey and people sign up to come. And you get to say how many. You can say 8, 10, 40. 40 won't come. But you make the turkey and everybody else brings all the other trimmings. So if that is you, let me know if you would. And then finally, the Saturday thing on the weekend of Thanksgiving is our beloved Ed Dudkowski's memorial service. And the movie, The Science of Earnest Mind, is dedicated to Ed, who was the videographer. So it's very, very dear. So those are the announcements. And then finally, my blessing for you is that every one of us, let's love lead the way. and Spirit is always our guide. So now if you would stand for the benediction, or the affirmation and closing song. And remember, this is Mom's affirmation, so it goes on forever. But just enjoy. Okay. God in me is love. Love in me is the energy of my soul, flowing through me in all its richness and fullness, harmonizing the functions of my physical body, the evolution of my emotional body, the activities of the body of my affairs. It is the fulfillment of what my personality self was reaching for, and I found it within me. God. and then for others, and my desire to share my life with others. Every situation I create serves to teach me that love heals everything, enriches everything, and is ever present to do so.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now.
Okay. We have one more piece today. Microphone. I screwed up. This is Mark Cooper, who is going to speak to you about pledging. This is our last Sunday of the formal. Yeah, really. He's great at this. Okay. Pay attention. I'm sorry.
I thought I was off the hook.
No.
Okay.
No.
So, no, stop that music. All right, so I was thinking a little bit about abundance and why we pledge, and I'll just try to make this brief. So, some folks have come up to me and said, Mark, why does everything come so easily to you, and why are you smiling all the time? You smile all the time. But I think about that, I've heard that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. For me, it's really abundance is when preparation meets opportunity, when you're open to those things. And when I think about abundance, for me, it's kind of like a river. Imagine that this is a big river. It's a flowing stream. It's a warm, sunny day. And you look, and there's people floating down the river. There's people going upstream. There's people that are on the edge of the river. You're in a swimsuit, and you're holding an inner tube. And all it would take would be for you to step into that stream and flow along with it. And if you want to get wet, and there's water everywhere, and that's what abundance is for us. I mean, sometimes water falls from the sky when it's raining. It's everywhere if you're open to that. When I think about pledging, I get opportunities everywhere I look, just like water. I turn around and someone needs my help, and I'm able to help them out. Last year in December, I sold about a block of San Rafael. I do commercial real estate. I sold a block. It's crazy. So I got a huge check, a bigger check than we'd ever had before. And I was grateful for that. And what I've done, rather than just spending money when it comes, a couple years ago, my tax person said, put yourself on salary. Give yourself a paycheck every couple weeks. Don't just wait for a whole bunch of money to come in and spend it all. Put yourself on a budget. Well, that's what we've done. So when money comes in, it's there. I know exactly what I need for our household, for us to spend, and I'm on a budget for myself. Well, the Golden Gate Center is on a budget. They know exactly how much they need to spend every week, every month for the year. when we pledge, we're giving back to that. They know how much they need, but it's a little bit of an unknown quantity as how much they're receiving. So when we pledge to them, we're helping them with their budget. I'm on a salary for myself. Money comes in from the heavens. I'm on a salary for myself, but we pledge back to them. And we also pledge on my United Mileage Plus card, so we get the miles when we go on trips. But that's the abundance for us, and that's the way that we budget what we can give to the church, and we love to give more and more every single year. So I'm sorry to hold you guys after, but that's my abundance speech and why we pledge. And right back there at the table, Galen, will you be at the table? We'll be back there, and we'll talk about abundance if you guys have any questions. Thank you for sticking around.
Forgiveness. The heroes this year are one Mark Heyer, who is the father of Heather Heyer, who was killed in Charlottesville by a white nationalist. Molly Beal, who we're honoring her family because the daughter Amy was working in South Africa, again against racism and apartheid, and she was dragged from her car and killed. And her mother and father went to South Africa. They forgave the 4 young men who killed her. They created a foundation to help the community, which has been going on. And with Desmond Tutu and his Reconciliation Commission, they actually forgave those young men. And one of them is now running the organization.
Wow.
For the family. So Molly, the sister who received the call from South Africa telling her that her sister had been killed, has written a couple of books now and created another foundation here in the United States, and she will be accepting the award for her family. Lester Chambers, who is a lead singer for a group known as the Chambers Brothers, their big hit was "Time Has Come Today." Mm-hmm. He was assaulted on stage by a woman when he wanted to do a prayer for Trayvon Martin's family, and was put in the hospital. But he forgave the woman who assaulted him. And so those are our heroes who will be honored. The one we really are proud of is Ed. Ed agreed several weeks ago to accept the award, so he knew it was coming. He just decided he didn't have time to stick around for it. So it will be awarded posthumously. Ed, you talk about his vital part, his vital role and everything. Every second of video that has been produced for the Worldwide Forgiveness Alliance was produced or directed or edited or narrated by Ed.
Wow.
For 20 years.
Wow.
And he also made sure it got on television. So that's what we've got coming up. We need volunteers. I have put a volunteer sign-up sheet over there by the coffee machine, and there are also these flyers to remind you of what's coming up. So that's next Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9:30 at the Mount Tamils. 7? Oh, Saturday. Thank you. Saturday, October 7th, 7 to 9:30 at the Mount Tamalpais United Methodist Church, which is right down the street from the Mill Valley Community Center on Sycamore, 410 Sycamore Avenue. It's across the street from the middle school there. So grab a flyer, please sign up to help us, because this is not a one-man operation. And we look forward to seeing you there. And I guess also I should announce this is my last one, because I'm moving to New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So moving to a family compound in upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
So we can all be together.
Oh.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bozeman. All right. So I'd like to invite the practitioner. Yes. Ah.
Ed doesn't miss the service. He's here today. While during the service, he's turned around and touching everybody that lets you know. And like when he touched me, I felt my heart beat up. Tears of joy began to flow. So he wanted to say something.
Oh, that's great. Hi, Ed. And I got to imagine, that, there's a birthday card for Reverend Barbara Leger that Jet has because it's her birthday today. So if you want to sign Barbara's card, be sure and talk to Jet. And I think she'll have it back at the Temenos table, yeah? I just had this image after Ed passed and we knew that he had gone, that when he stepped out onto the other side, out of that poor body that wasn't doing much anymore, but he was just like, woohoo! And so that's kind of my image of how Ed is feeling about now. Okay, so let's take a moment, just a moment, in the community blessing. And I want to invite the practitioners in the room to stand wherever you are. Just stand wherever you are and face, face the group as much as you can. And to just raise your hands. You practitioners, just raise your hands. We are the vibration of the divine presence, every one of us and all of us, and we are amplifying that right now with gratitude and taking it out into the world with joy, because we know that the truth of life is love, beauty, and oneness, and so it is. All right, please stand and join us for the affirmation and the closing song. Yeah? Oh, wait, where's the affirmation? Oh, I did that. I'm sorry, Cece, that was my screw up. Affirmation, there is only one. I am that, and you are that. There are no exceptions. There is no true separation regardless of conditions, opinions, or appearances. Recognizing oneness, I realize that I am responsible for me and also for generosity, compassion, and support of others, because there are no others. We belong to each other. And so it is. Oops.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now.